830,000 people, one morning, before sunrise. No warning, no evacuation order, no time. That is the official death toll of the Shanxi earthquake, January 23, 1556. And it is the deadliest earthquake in recorded human history by a massive margin. For comparison, the 2010 Haiti earthquake killed around 160,000 people. The 1906 San Francisco earthquake, fewer than 3,000. Shanxi killed more than both of them combined, 5 times over. And here is the part that should stop you cold. The geology that made it that lethal. It still exists. The fault that caused it, still loaded. And 600 million people live on top of the same type of ground today. This is the story of how the Earth itself became the weapon. Modern seismologists estimate the magnitude at 7.9 to 8.0. That is serious. That is a major earthquake, but it is not unprecedented. The San Francisco earthquake of 1906, same magnitude. Death toll, 2,900. Shanxi's death toll was 276 times higher. Same energy, same magnitude scale. A fraction of the deaths per person exposed. Something else was happening in 1556. Something the magnitude number cannot capture. The Wei River Valley runs east to west across northern China's Shanxi province. Underneath it, the Wei River Graben, a block of crust that dropped between 2 parallel fault lines. The crust literally pulling apart. 2 tectonic plates are responsible. The Indian plate drives northward into the Eurasian plate at about 5 centimeters per year. That slow collision transmits stress thousands of kilometers into Asia. Over centuries, that stress accumulated along faults like those framing the Wei River Graben. The rock bends, then it holds. Then, at 5 in the morning, on January 23, 1556, it stops holding. The fault slipped approximately 10 meters in seconds. 10 meters in seconds. The energy released was equivalent to roughly 32 billion tons of TNT. For context, every nuclear weapon ever detonated on Earth totals around 2 billion tons. The shaking was felt across an area larger than Western Europe. Here is where this earthquake separates from every other. The Wei River Valley is built on loess. Loess is windblown dust, some of the finest sediment on Earth, deposited over hundreds of thousands of years by winds off the Tibetan Plateau. In Shanxi, the loess deposits run up to 300 meters deep, and loess has a catastrophic structural property. When saturated and shaken, it liquefies. Think of wet sand on a beach, firm when you stand still. The moment you vibrate it, it loses all structural strength and behaves like liquid. Now, imagine 300 meters of that beneath every building, every road, every cliff face, every home. Seismologists call this amplification. Soft soil does not simply transmit seismic waves, it amplifies them. A 7.9 on bedrock might cause moderate damage. Filtered through 300 meters of less, it arrives at the surface with 3 to 5 times the destructive force. The ground in Shanxi did not just shake in 1556, it slid, it buckled. Entire hillsides liquefied, ground fissures opened across the valley floor. The Wei River temporarily reversed direction. The death toll from the fault and the liquefaction alone would have been catastrophic. But there was something else waiting, something nobody had thought to build around. In the Wei River Valley in 1556, millions of people did not live in buildings. They lived inside the cliffs. Yaodong, cave dwellings, horizontal tunnels cut directly into the lost cliff faces. Warm in winter, cool in summer, free to build. Generations of families had carved their homes into those same walls of compressible dust. When the fault slipped at 5 in the morning, when those 300 meters of loess liquefied, the cliff faces didn't crack. They collapsed, inward and down. Entire communities, asleep before dawn on the coldest morning of winter, were buried where they lay. Historical records from the Jiajing Emperor's court describe mountains changing their positions, rivers running backward, ground rising into mounds where there had been flat fields, fires breaking out from overturned hearths. The earthquake lasted an estimated 2 to 3 minutes. In 2 to 3 minutes, 830,000 people. Historical accounts of 1556 are sparse, but the ones we have are specific. The people who survived in the highest numbers were in open areas when the shaking started. Fields, roads, away from cliff faces, buildings, and anything that could fall on them. That is consistent with modern seismic science. Rule 1. Drop. Get low. Reduce your profile. Standing, you are a tall, unstable structure. Rule 2. Cover. Get under a sturdy table, desk, or against an interior wall. Cover your head and neck. These are the lethal zones in a structural collapse. Rule 3. Hold on. Earthquakes rarely last more than 2 minutes. Your job is to protect yourself for those 2 minutes. Nothing else. Do not run outside during shaking. The debris field outside a building is one of the most dangerous places to be. Falling glass, brick, masonry. You wait until the shaking stops. Then you move. The triangle of life theory has been comprehensively discredited by structural engineers. Modern buildings do not pancake in ways that create those voids. Drop, cover, hold on is not a simplification. It is the data. The amplification effect that turned Shanxi into a catastrophe is not unique to China. The Memphis metropolitan area sits on the New Madrid seismic zone over documented liquefaction risk sediment. A major New Madrid event has roughly a 10% probability in any 50-year window. Seattle sits on deep, soft sediment. The Bay Area Marina District, built on landfill, liquefied in 1989. Your ground matters as much as the earthquake. The earthquake prep items linked in the description cover the first 72 hours. Water supply for your household, a whistle to signal through debris, and an emergency blanket. 3 things. Link is below. Search your address on the USGS Earthquake Hazards Program site. Free. Ground motion risk by zip code. 90 seconds. One voice survived from 1556 with a written account. Scholar Qin Keda wrote, "In the winter of the 34th year of Jiajing, there was a great earthquake. Mountains and rivers changed. In some places, the earth rose in great mounds. In other places, where there had been hills, valleys formed. Those who were indoors were mostly killed. Those who ran outside survived." Qin Keda was in an open area when the shaking started. He survived. The earthquake registered in historical records across East Asia. Ground fissures opened across hundreds of kilometers. Secondary fires burned through the rubble for days. Aftershocks continued for months. The official death toll was 830,000. Some researchers believe it was higher. Remote village populations simply erased, with no one left to be counted. The Wei River Graben fault has not been relieved. The geological conditions, the loess, The Graben geometry, the amplification risk, are unchanged. The only thing that has changed, the population living above that fault is significantly larger. 830,000 people, one morning. Now you know why. It was four things hitting simultaneously. A fault accumulating centuries of stress, list geology amplifying the shaking 3 to 5 times, cave dwellings built into the same material that was liquefying, and a winter pre-dawn timing that put every person inside, asleep, with no warning. Remove any single factor, and the death toll is a fraction. Know your geology. Look up your address on the USGS Earthquake Hazards Program map. It takes 90 seconds. Drop, cover, hold on. Have 72 hours of supplies. If you want to understand the science of the next disaster, what the data actually says, and exactly what to do, subscribe. Tuesday and Friday. Next video. The American West is entering the worst drought in 1,200 years. We have the satellite data. The survival window is already narrowing.